Hi, everyone. If you don't know me, I am Melinda Van Fleet, and today, so it's so perfect for me to be talking to all of you, is my husband and I's 12-year anniversary of moving to the Keys. So it's just the perfect day, October 1st. So I'm really excited to be having this conversation, and we're just going to dive in. And I hope also too that everyone has a pen or pencil or pad of paper or your journal, because this will be a workshop. And I would also love if you feel comfortable to share in the chat as we go through things, share your thoughts. We'll be obviously talking about limiting beliefs. So if you feel comfortable, I don't like to pressure anybody, but if you feel comfortable, know that sharing helps other people as well. So we're all helping each other as a collective, because limiting beliefs is a really big topic that you get better at over time, but it doesn't always completely go away. So it's one of those things that the more that we can share, we can help each other. That's really, really, really positive. So we are going to dive in first with the agenda for today. We're going to talk about what are limiting beliefs. And then I'm going to review with you some simple life-changing truths that are in conjunction with my husband and I's story about moving here to the Keys. 3 simple tips. And then we're going to have some thoughts and a little bit of homework. So this is where we can journal and start to think about things during this call. But again, this is an ongoing evolution throughout your lifetime in working through limiting beliefs, whether it's either busting them and being able to not have them or stop them, or understanding when little ones like kind of creep up, you can like pop them and they can go away quickly and not affect you. And then at the end, I'm going to share some transformational reframing affirmations that I have gathered over my life of like working on this, because it is, again, a work in progress and evolution. And I'm going to share that with all of you as well. And if you wish to have that emailed to you as like a handout, so you can print it out and keep it with you and start to get them down pat, you can just put your email in the chat at the end, and I will gladly do that for you. You can't see the slides. Hold on. I must have lost the screen share in the process of everything. That's what I was afraid. All right. Can you see now? Perfect. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, so it's just a slide of that. So sorry about that. I lost that when I was moving around. So okay, perfect. My apologies. All right. So what are limiting beliefs? If anyone has a this is straight up off of Google. Okay, so I didn't make this up. Limiting beliefs are thoughts, opinions that one believes to be the absolute truth. They tend to have a negative impact on one's life by stopping them from moving forward and growing on a personal and professional level. That is why limiting beliefs are so important, is it because it not only affects your personal life, but it can affect your professional life. And all of us in this group are business women. So there's examples that we can share that are either personal or business. However you wish to share things as we go through this exercise is fine with me, because again, they go hand in hand. So sometimes you might have like a limiting belief about money personally, but then it could also affect your business. So what I want to do to kind of get started is when we're going through this, because we're going to get to a place where we're talking about our limiting beliefs. So as you're sitting here, and I'm going to be sharing a story in the next slide, just kind of start to jot down any ones that you have that come top of mind. All right, who am I? Here's a picture from Mary Griffin, if you know who she is. So who am I? My husband Ryan and I, we used to live in snowy, cold Minnesota. And I'm sharing this story with you because I hope that you can find some aspect of it that's relatable. because as we all go through life changes, we all have these things that we have to overcome. So when my husband and I met, we realized we did not like living in Minnesota. And my husband actually suffered from depression. And what I ended up doing, because this was 12 years ago again, so actually a little over 12 years ago, is we used to lay on the bed together, just on top of the bed with the sound machine going. And I used to walk him through what it would be like to move somewhere where it never, ever snowed, where we could get 2 little dogs. Now we happen to have 3, where he could be the charter boat captain that he always desired to be. I could be in sales rep and be paid per performance, be a sales rep. And we just could live like a happier life, looking at green grass all the time and green trees. And what ended up happening was it helped him a lot, but it helped him so much that the universe decided to jump in, and we both ended up losing our jobs at the same time. So we did not end up having the chance to really have our act together before that all happened. We ended up having to kind of go, okay, what do we do now? So during that process of trying to figure out, do we look into moving? Do we stay here? What do we do? We ended up really having to uncover some of our limiting beliefs about our lives and what we could make happen. So we started to make choices. And I love this affirmation. My future depends on my choices today. I literally started to decide, okay, we're moving from Minnesota. So we're not buying any more things that we have to use here in Minnesota, because we are steadfast in moving and we can make it happen. So we started to just recognize every little thing that was popping up into our brain and changing it and shifting it to make sure that we were on the path to move somewhere where it never ever snowed. And we ended up moving here. And then we also realized that we had the power within us to make this change. And we started to block out any of the excess noise from the people that were like, don't move to Florida, there's hurricanes. We heard that so many times. We could be rich for how many times we heard that. And oh my gosh, what are you going to do when you move down there? How are you going to find a job? You don't know anyone, right? So all these people put this noise around you, but we recognized that we had the power to block that out and really stay focused and let go of those noise from other people. So another affirmation I love with that is, today I'm thankful for the ever growing awareness of myself, because you have to start to develop that awareness that you have all the power within you and you control the choices you make and how you think and how you act and how you believe, so you can start to bust through those beliefs and move forward towards your desires. So yeah, we ended up coming down here. I'm gonna just pull up the chat. All right. And if you have questions as we go along too, I'm just trying to get the chat to show. I'm struggling and I don't know why. All right, so 3 simple tips. And when I say simple, I always kind of laugh, because the trick is in life is to do the work. And often when we're at a personal development conference, we watch a video like this, participate in a course, we always nod and go, oh yeah, I know that, I know that, I know that. But then often people don't do it. So that's often why I'll say it's simple, but not always easy, because you actually have to remember and do the work. So the first thing with your limiting beliefs is having the awareness. So I'm trying to pull up the chat because I would love to hear how here we go. Thank you. What some of your limiting beliefs are, because the first one is having some awareness. And if you want to type in the chat, any ones that come to mind. And in the meantime, while you guys are thinking, I'll share a little story about this boat. What do you all think when you see this boat? What comes to your mind? What's your first thought? And put that in the chat as well. So when I was growing up, my mom used to say to us every time we would go downtown Chicago, because I'm originally from the south side of Chicago, we would always be driving down Lakeshore Drive. If you know the area, if you know what it's like, Lake Michigan's on your right as you're heading north, and there's all these boats. And I would always say, oh, I want a boat someday. Now, this was when I was a kid. And my mom would say, they're expensive. People don't use them. They're a waste of money. Why would you ever want a boat? Every single time. But somehow I tuned out that noise, and I even had torn out a picture of a boat and put it in a folder as a child, not even realizing it, again, what, manifestation or the law of attraction was, or limiting beliefs. And now our small business has to do with a boat. So it's kind of funny how it all works out. But when I see this picture, I think, wow, how fun would that be to be able to rent that boat and take all my friends and family on that for a weekend. But often, sometimes might see that boat and just like my mom used to say, be like, that's a waste of money. Why would anyone ever do that? That's so stupid. So limiting beliefs happen in all sorts of ways and shapes and forms, but that's on my wish list for being able to rent something like that to share. So we're getting some answers. So I'm going to read them. All right. I can't do math, Carolyn. I'll never be rich enough to own a boat like that. I don't have enough time to do everything I want to do. Good one. See, they're all over. I love this because it's a wide variety. I'm too old to start something new. I was thinking about age this morning on my walk. That's perfect, Trisha. That's a good one. Awesome. These are some good ones. Feel free to keep adding them in. So it's always the awareness. And I'm glad Susie's on the call because this happened with her last week. And I think I'm pretty good at limiting beliefs. I just gave you guys some examples, but what I also want to share is, again, you might have some ones that like creep up and you're just like, where the heck did that come from? Why did I say that? Why did I think that? So being able to like recognize it and have the awareness that, oh my gosh, that was a limiting belief. And why did I do that to myself is like really a huge, huge step in the right direction. So if anyone gets anything at all from this training, but a heightened sense of awareness, you are like so on the right track that I just would be really, really excited for you. All right, step 2. So this is where you ask yourself, is this real? And is this true? So go back through if you put your comments in here and think, is it real? And is it true? And if you don't put your comments in here, just put them in your journal and think about that. And real can have a couple different elements to it, right? Because it can be something that you just feel in your body. So it might feel real to you. So at least understanding how that feels to you is really important because your feelings are what ends up becoming your energetic aura, and also works obviously in conjunction with the law of attraction, manifestation, because all of this does tie together, even though we're focusing today on limiting beliefs. So understanding, do I feel this is real? Do I feel this fear is real? Is a really important part of the process. And then the second part that's also really important too is going, is this even true? I mean, I'm too old to start something new. I mean, really, Patricia? Right? So that's when you kind of like laugh to yourself and go, okay, what? And then I actually have an example for that one. That's what I thought of this morning on my walk that I'll save it for the next slide. But yeah, because I'm too old to start something new is so common. We live in this world where we talk about age, or we try to hide our age. I definitely was on that path for many years because of somebody I worked with. She was hiding her age, so I thought I had to hide my age. So that developed into a limiting belief when I was in my 30s and was like, why am I doing this? So, if you can give me a shout in the message of, if you're thinking like, is it real? Is this true? And at least start to like understand, oh, it's really not. And I'm going to keep an eye on the time too, everyone. And then the third step, which is super important, and this becomes easier as you get in the practice, in the habit of doing this, is taking a moment to then think of a memory or an example and then shift. So what'll end up happening for you is you'll end up kind of gathering this little bank of examples. You'll gather this bank of stories, you'll gather this bank of things that you've read or you've seen. So for example, in regards to being too old to start something new, I think it was on LinkedIn this morning as I was just kind of cruising through, there was an article published about a woman who I want to say was 102. She's 102 and she just released a record. What? She's like a piano player and she's 102 and just released a record. So there's really no stopping someone because you don't know what can happen magically in your favor. So to really understand that if it's not real or if it's not true, why are you stopping the magic from happening? Because you're really just stopping the magic from happening in your brain. You're really not doing yourself any favor if you don't think of it and shift it into a positive fashion. So when I think of starting over and shifting our business model, my husband and I have to remember back to the story I was sharing with you from when we both lost our jobs at the same time and moved down here and how it all ended up working out. It wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was easy, but it still ended up working out. We were okay. At the end of the day, it all worked out and we were okay. So I carry that memory and that example in my back pocket. Same with my mom making a comment on such a large boat. I carry the example in my pocket that I didn't let that defeat me as a child. And now we have a business that has a boat and that's just part of what we do. And I didn't let the fact of, oh, boats are stupid or expensive and no one uses them, what a waste of money, stop that dream from happening for my husband. I just kept going. Does anyone have a memory or an example that they want to share in conjunction with their limiting belief or something that can help them shift from something that they are thinking? Jill, if you have the time to do everything you want to do, that's such a good one. Carolyn, I know you can do that, girl. All right, we'll move on. So these are your questions to think about. So along the same line as the tips, but these are really, truly point by point how you can break them down. So number one, what are my limiting beliefs? And then number two, what level are they? So often we bucket something just into like one group, right? You might be like, oh, that's a limiting belief. But when you start to think about them, so as you're writing them in your journal, which I hope you're doing, I hope that you are also going, gosh, this one's kind of a nasty one. This one's like really heavy. And it could be around money. That's a really, really big one that a lot of people can. That was weird. I just got like a strange message, but tell me if you can't see my screen. think about, what the level of difficulty is, right? We've heard that saying before in different things like taking exams. So if it's a deep-seated money one, like for example, I can never get out of debt, that might be like a level 10 for you. But there might be some easier ones, like I can't get out of bed in the morning, right? Maybe that one's only a level 3. So as you go through them and list them and build your awareness around what your limiting beliefs are, also just give them some time and think about, how severe is this? Is this something that's going to take a lot of work and a lot of layers to uncover? Maybe it is maybe from childhood, maybe it's something that happened in your adulthood, in your business, in a relationship. Really try to consider, what level are they, so you can start to like nip at them. And there's many things in life where the advice is, start with the smallest one first, because then when you can start with the smallest one, you've got like a win in your pocket and you're like, oh my gosh, I beat that. And it just gets you excited. It changes your energy and you feel really happy. And you're like, okay, got that one, got that one, I got that one. And then you can like start to then nip at like these bigger ones that maybe are really holding you back in your business or your life, because it'll just keep you more motivated and more positive and happier towards your goal of eliminating or at least minimizing your limiting beliefs. Does anyone have anything about the levels that they want to share in the chat? And then step 3 is, what are my better thoughts? And this is where we're going to get to in the next slide, what I mentioned as far as having some transformational affirmations that you can start to memorize. So I know that I have seen, so if you're like me, you might experience this as well, that I have to kind of memorize some things, right? I have to put them on a sticky, write them in my journal. I do like to have stickies by my computer. That's probably my number one thing. Write them on little notes. Just sometimes I just have to get it down pat. So I'll be like, what did she say? Oh, that was really good, right? And then I write it down. Or if you read a really good quote or something you see on Instagram or Facebook, write it down. Don't feel goofy like you can't remember. I mean, we're all got so many things going on in your brain. So definitely when we get to the next slide, try to pick like 3 that relate to you, like that you feel like really like that you can relate with. And I'd love to hear in the chat which ones that you guys like when we get to the next slide. And then start to, again, memorize them and put them in conjunction with your limiting belief, so you can start to reframe them and think better thoughts and actually think, okay, what is really true? That this isn't really true. I'm really not going to be broke for the rest of my life. I can change that. So what are some thoughts around that I can shift my mind to whenever that pops in, right? Because it could pop in. You could be like walking your dog and it'll pop in, or you can drive in your car and it'll pop in, or something you watch on television, it could pop in. So the more you get in the habit, in the practice of grasping onto the memories, grasping onto the reframe, you'll start to see the shift and it'll just become easier, right? Everything is practice. Every single thing you do is practice. And this is no different. This is truly no different. And to be really, really direct, it is rewiring your brain. So it is rewiring all the circuitry from what you grew up with, your surroundings. I do not understand why we don't pop out of our mother's wombs like knowing all this stuff. We just don't. So now that we get older in our lives, we're like, okay, we have some work to do. But the trick is, that's the practice, that's the simple but not easy, is doing the work and remembering these tools and getting them down pat. So then, in a month or 2, you're like, oh, I get it. And it's all like snapping like clockwork. So we're going to go to the next slide, unless someone has a question about this slide. All right. So here we go. So this is my master list, and we're going to walk through. Okay, we're at 12:30. And this is where I would so love if you put in the chat what some of your favorites are again. And if you are like, oh, I see how I can reframe one of my limiting beliefs and change it into something that's positive. And I would love to hear that. So the first one is maybe. When you shift what you desire, what you're thinking about, what you're hoping for into maybe that could happen, instead of no, that could never happen. I could never buy that boat. But instead you're like, well, maybe I could buy that boat. I mean, sit right now and just say that to yourself. I can feel my energy shift from saying, no, I can't buy that boat to, well, maybe I can buy that boat someday. It shifts like your whole energy. So I'm not saying that I'm going out today, this afternoon, and buying that boat, because then I wouldn't believe it, right? And I'd be like, and my brain would all go crazy. But if it's a maybe, like, who knows in 5 years, right? Who knows, like, what could happen? I have no idea. It's just maybe. And it shifts like your whole energy around what you were thinking is a no. If you just shifted it to maybe. The second one that I love, and I actually do this on my morning walks, is yes, it opens more possibilities. Exactly. It just opens up, and it opens up to the universe that possibilities could happen, which is kind of in conjunction with number 2. So what if is just like another like super fun game you can play. Like you can play this by yourself. You can play this with your spouse or partner. You can play this with your family member or friend, anyone you just want to have fun with. Like, what if I was able to get that house? Like, oh my gosh, that would be so cool. What if I could be able to redo my whole kitchen and have it look like these Instagram people I'm following? That's one of mine. What if like I could get a new dog, like whatever you desire. Like we all have things that we would love, or it doesn't even have to be like something tangible. It could be like learning something new. Like, what if I learned Spanish? There's just so many things that we all have on your list. So as a fun exercise, like make a list of your desires and then just put what if in front of it. Why not, right? What if that happened? Wouldn't it be cool if that happened? And it's just such a great, like, fun exercise that will put you also in good spirits. So if you're having a bad day, that's another thing. If you're having a bad day and you're like, oh my gosh, this client or this customer is just right, or this broke, that often happens to us, something's broken, just go outside. Sit outside, take your shoes off, go to the pool or go sit by the water and just sit for a few minutes and play what if. What if that could happen? That would be so fun. It doesn't cost you anything, right? You're just like talking to the sky and see what can happen for you. Same thing. Wouldn't it be cool? So number 4 is in that vibe too. So number 3 is a really, really, really transformational one in regards to money, and especially if you have children. So many of us, and give me a shout out if you're one of those people that grew up with, no, you can't have that. We can't afford that. I mean, that's like some of the oldest sayings that, we've all heard. And if you just shift it to, let's put it on the list. It takes all the energy out of we can't afford it. You're obviously not going to be manifesting that you can't afford it, right? You're not sending that message out there to the universe for the law of attraction. And you're just creating a better communication with whoever it is you're chatting with. Again, whether it's your child. I mean, we have with our small business. So if any of you are business owner, you're like, think to yourself, oh, I can't afford that yet. I can't afford that coach. I can't afford that new computer. I can't afford that course. I can't afford that piece of equipment. That's where your mind goes, like automatically. It's just not necessary. If you just shift it to, let's put it on the list, you're going to get it someday. You're not putting a time on it. You're just putting it on the list, and you'll be amazed at how that shift in energy. And again, especially if you're communicating with another person and they might get triggered by the fact that you're like, no, we can't afford it. Like it'll just soften like your whole dynamics of communication with the other person. So yes, Lauren, for sure. And I know you have a small business too and you have kids. So yes, put it on the list is so good. I'm sure that hopefully, well, I hope that really helps for you. Yeah, I agree. It works. Awesome. All right. So it's coming. Another one. You can easily group this in with, let's put it on the list, or wouldn't it be cool if it's coming? It's coming. Yep. I don't know when I'm getting a new car, but it's coming. It's coming. I don't know when we're going to get our new house, but it's coming. It's coming. And it just, again, shifts. All of these things just shift the energy. They just shift the dynamic with you and another person. We rent and we're very grateful for where we rent. We've been in this place for 9 years. But if any of you know my streets, it's not the best streets. So just being honest. So someday our new house is coming and we're going to live on a new street and it's coming. And I just live with that like positive affirmation, that reframe every day, instead of, walking outside and getting like angry that there's potholes and garbage and the neighbors and this and that and this, right? I can drive myself crazy with all of that as I'm walking around, walking our 3 dogs, instead of being like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. We're not going to live here forever. It's coming, it's coming. But in the meantime, I have a foot in gratitude because we do live in a really, really safe home that's affordable and really big, and we don't have a lot of neighbors. So those things are really good, right? So I have my foot in gratitude for that, but shift it when I'm outside walking the dogs in the street and start to go, oh gosh, no one can pick up their trash. It's coming. It's coming that we're going to be moving someday. It's coming. Another one. Oh, wouldn't it be nice? Yes. Patricia, you cracked me up. I love that. Wouldn't it be cool if money did grow on trees? Yes. I love that. Yeah. Maybe it will someday. You don't know, right? I love it. That's awesome. Oh gosh. I'm in the process of, this is a big one too. So especially if you're building a business, it can be really, really challenging to start over, raise my hand high. And one of the things that just helps move through that frustration, that anxiety, oh, it's taking so much time or whatever, like all these mind loops that you can get put into, or if you start comparing yourself against someone else, it's just shifting that to, I am in the process of building a multi-million-dollar business. I'm in the process of building a new home. So let's say you're starting to build a new home and you're frustrated by the contractors, or something's not happening right away with permits or money, whatever. I know there's lots of things that go into that bucket. I am in the process of, and just shift it to that. Yes, thank you. Yay. Good. Another one that has been life-changing, I actually wrote about it in Life and Love Lessons because it's so impactful. And that is, I give myself permission to. What does that mean? Often when we start a business, for example, I'll use this business example, people are maybe nervous about getting money, collecting money for their services. I hear this all the time. This is one of the hardest things for some people, is to ask for money for their services, to follow up on an invoice that's due, to deal with something customer service wise. And it can really keep people stuck in a negative energy of when they're starting a business, because it may look easy from the outside for people. They're like, oh, she just started this, store, and she's got this new building and da, 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 da. But inside, we often have all these like things and fears and doubts and things that just kind of hold us back. So understanding that you give yourself permission to call and ask for that invoice, and really like breathing into it, and even holding your hand. I just do it automatically now. It's automatic for me. But holding your hand over your heart and just taking some deep breaths whenever you feel like that fear of asking for something is coming over you. And then the more you get used to like the asking and the breathing in and go, give myself permission to ask to be paid for this service, or I give myself permission to ask for them to take care of this for me, it'll become more normal for you. But this one definitely is one that I've had to grasp onto a lot in my journeys because, yeah, we all want to be nice. We all want to be compassionate. We all don't want to bother someone or bug them, right? It's kind of like yucky. So this is one for any time you feel yucky and you have like some limiting belief that they're going to be, mad at you for asking or annoyed, just breathe into it. I give myself permission. And it's interesting because I was having a conversation the other day with someone about the fear of asking for something. And she had such strong fear around asking to be paid for an additional travel time that she had to do to visit someone for her business. So she was a client of mine. And then one of the triggers that she was trying to work through is that she was having to go visit someone for her company. And she was feeling just like, oh, they do need to pay me for this. It's extra time, it's extra gas, it's tolls, etc. Right. And so just really when she started to get comfortable and asked, what ended up happening, the other party was like, yeah, no problem. I totally get it. Yeah, I'll give you an extra $50 or whatever it was. So having that and moving through that, then often it'll work in conjunction with, is it real and is it true? Because you often put the thought in your mind or the story that the person's going to be annoyed or pissed off. And really, they're totally fine. You just were sitting thinking that it wasn't going to be fine. So sometimes it all kind of comes together in a circle and you'll then go, oh, that was really no big deal. And then what ends up happening? Can anyone tell me? Anyone? It ends up becoming one of those positive memories that you have in your back pocket that it worked. So then the next time you go through it, you remember that you went through that before and it worked and you're going to be fine. And that's what it is. That's the work and that's the chipping through all of these little limiting beliefs, big limiting beliefs, medium-sized limiting beliefs to get you to a place where your energy is feeling good and you are moving forward in your business and your life. All right, number 8, it's working for me. That's a good one too. So often someone may be frustrated that they're not seeing any momentum in their business. And they're like, hello, anyone out there? Crickets? Anyone? Hello? Hello? Anyone? And I could talk about time forever, but we know things take time, but we shouldn't be thinking about the time. But this alleviates that limiting belief that things aren't working out for you, that things are going to take too much time, that you're not doing the right thing. If you just shift it to it's working for me, it's working for me. The effort I'm putting in today is working for me. I'm taking the steps forward, it's working for me. I'm doing the reps, it's working for me. So just having that will help you keep moving forward when you're starting to be discouraged or you're like, oh gosh, I have to do this again today. I'm supposed to be doing this. My coach said I should do this, but what? Because you kind of start to get in your head that it's not working only because it's going to take some time. So shift it to it's working for me. And that will shift all the energy around what you're doing. And you'll start to see positive momentum naturally, because in general, you just feel better, right? And people want to be near you and you're higher energy and you're feeling good because you have this mindset that it's working for you. Okay. It is safe to, I'm going to go fast really because I want to see if there's any questions, and put your questions in the chat because then I'll be able to help maximize the time. So I think we go to 1, right, Patricia? Okay.
I had it scheduled until 1:30 in case there was a lot of
good
questions, but
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 to 1.
Okay. And still like, yeah, people have questions, go ahead and pop them in. So that'll help me too. But we're getting to the end where I did want to have time for people for questions. So perfect. Thank you so much. All right. It is safe to is very similar to I give myself permission. It's just another like level, because sometimes you may not feel safe in having a conversation with someone, right? You might feel that, oh, this conversation might not go very well, might be kind of rough communication if I bring this up. So it's just a word shift there. And again, like if you can pick, let's say 3 of these that you feel like really called that, gosh, these 3 are really good, then, that's amazing. That's amazing. I don't expect that everyone has, 11 of these memorized in their bucket of use. So if you can, choose between I give myself permission to, or it's safe to, a little bit different of a connotation, a little different context, and they just may be a better fit for you with whatever situation you're trying to work through. And then number 10 and 11 are super fun as well. These are like just high vibes. So I wanted to end with 10 and 11 as just like super high vibe. It kind of goes into like 4 and 5 a little bit, but these are even, 2 words, 3 words, that you can easily memorize. Of course I get to go on vacation. That's the vibe. Like, of course it's coming for me. Of course I get to do that. So when you put those words that are just super high energy in front of whatever you're trying to move through, it just can shift like your whole energy of the whole of what you're trying to be, right? It just is a really good shift. And the same thing, I get to go on vacation. I get to get that new car, so it's just a statement. It is just it. You have like put down the law. You get to do it. So it's just another like high vibe. You're claiming your power. I get to do this. Nothing's stopping you. And it's just, I love whenever you can just shift and be able to move through something. And, those 2 kind of go with any situation, whether it's, personal or business. I get to earn this amount of money each week in my business. I get to do that. Of course, that's going to happen. So you can even play with it yourself, like I had said to do with the other example of with the boat. Like you can play, so you start to understand. You can do your own little role play, or you can find someone you trust to do a little role play with that you feel comfortable, and just like feel it in your body and be like, holy crap, yeah, those words like shifted everything. And you just feel better, right? You just feel better versus going, no, I can't do that. I can't afford that. Mm-hmm. Right? So no, of course I'm going to be able to afford that. Like you can just shift it on your own, and you'll just be amazed at the difference of how you feel and how you just start to nip away at the limiting beliefs. And one of the things that happens when you start to become like your own expert in this, because again, it's you're the one, you have the power within you to make these shifts and decisions, is you'll start to notice like other people. So 2 examples that I had that are kind of recent is Ryan's parents, my husband's parents, came down and we were at Made to Order. And his parents are very nice. We love them from a distance. They live in Illinois and we're very grateful for them. And we were looking at the houses being built. So if you've been to Made to Order, there's like 2 bigger houses. One's complete, one's still like in works, I believe. And his parents go, that's how the rich people live. And I was like, well, why can't I have a house like that someday, right? So right away, I was like, limiting belief. I didn't say anything to them. I would never want to hurt their feelings. They're not going to change. They did not ask me for advice. So all those things like just moved on. But I recognized it and like chuckled to myself, right? So instead of letting that affect me, I just shifted it. And then another one that happened was my best friend who lives in Connecticut, who lives in Greenwich, if you know anything about Connecticut. It's not like a, you know, a bad place. It's really pretty and really nice. And I had sent her a DM on Instagram with Serena and Lily. So if you know what Serena and Lily is, it's a really, really nice line of home decor and furniture. And it's, again, not cheap stuff. It's very nice. And I sent her a picture of an outside patio that I thought would be really great for her new backyard, because they just redid their whole house. And her house remodel cost her over $1 million easily, right? What's the first thing she messaged back to me was, I can't afford that furniture. You just did $1 million remodel on your house. Like, what? Like, really? But I didn't say anything to her. She's my friend. I love her. It was more of me noticing that someone else had a limiting belief that to me was kind of like, really? Like, you just did this whole remodel. You can save your money for that. Of course you can get that someday, right? Of course, of course, of course. So, so you'll just start to notice it in other people, and just in your mind, you know, have the little shift, have the little, like, you know, moment yourself where you kind of go, gosh, I've come pretty far on nipping these things in the bud, and you know, give yourself some props for that. Give yourself some props, because again, these are things we can control. We all have the power within us. This is my very favorite little quote from Glenda the Good Witch, that we all have the power within us. We just have to learn it, and then we have to be able to practice it and do it and make it a habit. So yeah. So I'm going to read the chat. If anyone has any questions, what are the top, coach? What are the most common? Okay. Yep. Let me just finish reading this. Oh, yes. Learn something new instead of so hard. That's beautiful. So as a coach, what are the limiting beliefs I get? This is a great question. Thank you for asking. Definitely a lot about money, that I can never make any money in my business. That is for sure. And again, like, is it real? Is it true? Like, reframing it. Another one is, this is going to take a long time. And that is, again, that's a really big challenge out there, something I've personally done work with. So I have a huge amount of compassion and empathy for anyone that struggles with time. Because yes, there is time to build a business, but then you can't focus on the time. So that's a really, really big one. And then there's often a lot of comparison that goes into limiting beliefs. And I do talk a lot about comparison. It's actually something I also feel very passionate about, is how you view comparison and not letting it stop you. So for example, with the limiting beliefs, to answer your question, Patricia, is you can easily go online and be like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do a video. I can't do a photo. So I'm trying to really address that in my social media, because I went through that. So I get it. Again, I have so much compassion for some of these things, because it sucks when you're there and it keeps you stuck. So figuring out tools to move through that is like super, super important. And so comparison is another one, because you know, we live in this crazy world with so much content, you know, whether it's social media or TV or your neighbors, you know, there's so much out there, and our brains, for whatever freaking reason, go automatically into this place. So it's being able to stop it and shift it, so you're not feeling bad about yourself or feeling stuck. So that's what I would say. Money, time, and comparison are the three that I feel that I get the most from my clients in terms of how to work through those things. And also that I see out there too. So I think that those things are relative as far as like being things that keep you stuck from moving forward. So, oh, thank you, Kathy. Thanks for joining. I think I might have missed you, but if you see the replay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, any other questions? I would still love to hear if there's any more of the 11 that you guys loved. I can put that back up for a second. Oops. That's fun. I love to hear what other people think. So I do. I really do.
I am in the process of.
Mhm.
It gives you room to breathe and not rush yourself, and acknowledge the journey.
Yes, acknowledge the journey. That's beautiful. Absolutely. And life is a journey, and often we don't give ourselves enough grace in that, right? Like we're trying to rush through things, and having that mindset shift about.
And there's value in the journey, right? It's not all about the destination.
Yep. You are right. You are absolutely correct. There is a lot of value in the journey. There's a lot of celebration. Actually, something I was going to say in the beginning, so I'll say it at the end. I just really forgot, like, have all these thoughts, and then I kind of got tricked up with my PowerPoint, so I apologize for that. But one of the things I was going to say is, everyone on this call, or if you're watching the replay, because I know some people had to work, so I totally get that. Commend yourself for like being here, for showing up, because this is a journey. And often people are like, not just with this, but with so many things, like, oh, I know that, I don't need to do that, I'm good. And they're really not. And I try to tailor like my coaching and my courses and what I share as some things that are a little different than maybe what you might read in, just like a magazine article or something like that. So because I want people to feel, extreme value for their time and showing up, and be able to grasp something so they can transform and make a change. So give yourself like total props for showing up today at lunchtime on your own personal time. I mean, Jill's freaking on vacation, so it's just, you just start a new job. So that's amazing. And you should feel really, really, really great about yourself, that you value yourself enough to make this time, to dedicate this time. And I'm hoping everyone took notes. If someone wants something from the deck, just email me, melinda@melindavanfleet.com. I'll send you the information. No worries. That's great. And, use it, like start to practice it. I did a summit with someone in Rome, Italy. It'll come out at the end of October, I think October 18th. And, I went through my tips and I shared stories, and she was really cute. And then she was like, what other tips you have? I'm like, the tip is doing the work. The tip is that every day you have to do the work. Like that's the tip. That's the big tip. So whether you can carve out, 15 minutes to go sit outside at your table, or sit in your car even, or go to Ann's Beach, or get a snack somewhere, go to Cafe Mocha, have a cup of coffee and sit outside, go to, Village Square. My goodness, like there's so many places to sit there. Just be with yourself, and do the mental work, do the work that you need to do, whether it's limiting beliefs or something else, communication with someone, but you have to really focus and carve that time out to do it, because otherwise we're all on autopilot. We're all so busy, all of us, everyone, and your day will just go by. And then before you know it, it's October 1st, then it's the end of the year, and then it's this, and then it's that. And then you've got all the same problems and all the same challenges that you had before. So it's really important to carve some type of time. And even if it starts with 15 minutes, and even if it's 15 minutes once a week, that's something. And then be really, really proud of yourself that you did that. And then you'll start to see like that grow, and then those changes start to manifest, and the momentum start to happen. But you have to figure out the time to do the work, and not just like end this call and be like, oh yeah, okay, that was great, Melinda, that's really nice, thanks, bye, see you at lunch. You have to like do it. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. And next year you'll be like, hey, can you talk to me about limiting beliefs? I'm like, that's all I got, people. That's it. So now it's up to you to like do it. And if you have questions, I have a group now, a private Facebook group called Beyond Basics. Here, I'll put up my information. Everyone is welcome to connect with me. I'm on Facebook, if you don't know that already. If we're not already connected, I started a YouTube channel. So every Tuesday I do a tip Tuesday. It's 3 minutes or less. So that's a good thing to subscribe to. They're just quick little nuggets. LinkedIn, there's my Instagram and my email. So then I just created a new lead magnet on my website that's about growing your online business, and it's 5 tips. So feel free to go onto my website. It's on the top bar. You just have to click it and it'll come to you immediately. And then once a month, I'm doing a free masterclass in this private Facebook group that I just started last month. And it's all in regards to, at least at the moment, content creation, which is what I talk about. And all of this kind of ties together because it's all in relation to your business, and it feeds into your life, but it's the business aspect that I really love. And this month is next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, live in Facebook, and it's on video. So if anyone out there is like, I've had, not been wanting to get on video, and I need to start, and I need to try, and I need to get used to it, all those things. I've been there. That is what Wednesday's free masterclass is going to be in that group. It's going to be on video. So I've done all sorts of video things, and I share everything. I don't hold back. So the good, the bad, the ugly. That's what that will be. And again, it's open communication for chat if someone has questions or, has, wishes to share. I love that, whatever you desire. It'll be the same type of format, but through Facebook next Wednesday. So please join if you'd like to. So,
Thank you, Melinda. That all sounds great.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, this has been super fun. Making the time is the trick for sure. Yes. So, yeah, and it's amazing when people start to go, oh, yeah, I really don't like watching that Netflix show. I can stop that, right? There's always just like something you can kind of think of to get like a little bit of your time back. So I do challenge everyone to think about that if that is one of your challenges in terms of I don't have any time, because that is definitely something I hear a lot too, Patricia. So that's also I'll give you 4. I don't have the time to meditate. I swear I'd be so rich if I had a nickel for every time someone said, I don't have time to meditate. I'm like, oh, you can do 10 minutes. You can. So, yeah. So, and if anyone has any questions that they think of like after, yeah, just email me. So, yeah, I'm like, I'm here, people. So.
Thank you again, Melinda. And thank you,
Yes,
everybody.
thank you, everyone.
Joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So, all right.
Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Melinda. That was wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.